Hey, what's happening, guys? What's going on? You guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels. Today is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. It's Monday, back to the grind. I got a number of things we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're going to be doing another one of these rundown videos, talking about some business stories, talking about the economy, talking about the real estate market, and how and where markets closed up on Friday. Talk a little bit about crypto as well. I think probably the biggest story of the day, McDonald's is temporarily shutting down their corporate offices in Chicago as they're preparing for layoffs. So apparently sometime between now and Wednesday, or I believe maybe on Wednesday, McDonald's is going to be going through a round of mass layoffs. And what's really interesting, especially amid calls to return to the office because in-person collaboration and in-person communication is better, McDonald's is actually sending everybody back home because they don't want to have to lay people off face-to-face. They want to be able to lay people off over email or over Zoom. Kind of reminds me of that scene in Office Space where, like, we normally try to do layoffs on Fridays. We find that it's less likely to lead to a workplace incident. So McDonald's is sending everybody home so that they can fire them digitally over either Zoom or email. Another big story we're going to be talking about today, OPEC is cutting 1.15 million barrels per day of oil production. Russia also recently announced that they're going to be cutting oil production. And I think for the rest of the video, we're kind of going to be talking about the real estate market. We got some interesting stats to share kind of about the number of apartment complexes being built. Rental vacancies are up, and even Realtor.com. Normally Realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin, these publications want to make the real estate market look as good as possible. But even Realtor.com is putting out articles. I think they had an article out on Friday or sometime over the weekend titled "A Surprising Sign That Home Prices May Finally Take a Plunge This Summer." And it kind of talks about how, right now should be peak home buying season, especially families, people with kids. They want to move in between school years. Well, if you want to close on a home early summer, you're going to have to buy about right now, right? Right now is April. If you got a 60-day close, that's April, that's May. You're moving into your home in June. I think most people want to be settled into a new home by the time the school year starts, which means you probably want to be into the home by July, so you can kind of be settled in, be moved in, and have a couple weeks to get the kids ready for school. Well, you're going to have to buy by early May if you actually want to be into your home before the school year starts. But let's get into today's news. Before we hop into this, shout out to the sponsor of today's video, SporeStore.com. We actually got it right today. I didn't stutter, didn't mess it up. SporeStore.com sells mushroom growing supplies. If you're looking to grow oyster mushrooms, morel mushrooms, lion's mane mushrooms, Spore Store sells kits that will help you grow mushrooms. They also sell spores for morel mushrooms, pink oysters, golden oysters, and if you guys are into microscopy, I can never say that word right, microscopy, which is studying things under a microscope, they actually sell psilocybin mushroom spores as well that you can study under a microscope, because it is illegal to grow those mushroom spores. But the other mushrooms that you can grow, that you can legally grow and eat, they sell kits for those as well. One of the cool things about Spore Store, they accept Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and I believe Monero as payments. And if any of you guys out there are affiliate marketers, they also have an affiliate marketing program. I believe they pay 15% commissions. They pay pretty decent, but they will also pay you out in cryptocurrency. I know there's a lot of people out there looking for affiliate programs that pay out in crypto as opposed to PayPal or bank wires or a check. So if you're an affiliate marketer, check out their affiliate program as well. I'll link to them in the description box below. On Friday, the Dow closed up 415 points. The NASDAQ closed up 1.18%. And crypto continues to trade sideways. I was looking at crypto prices last night, but just because crypto moves so quickly, let's hop on over to CoinMarketCap.com. Let's see, what do we got? In the past 24 hours, most major coins are trading down 0.25%, 0.5%. Most are up 1% to 3% on the 7-day. Right now, Bitcoin trading at 28,233. Bitcoin holding up well above 28,000. Ethereum trading at 1806, but has managed to stay above 1,800. BNB is down 5% on the week. BNB has been struggling since it was announced that the U.S. government and the SEC is going after CZ and Binance. But BNB is still over $300. That's sitting at 312. Let's see, XRP over 50 cents. Cardano 39 cents. And let's see, we'll call one more out. Litecoin currently sitting at $92. Litecoin's trading sideways on about the past week. So, before we get into this McDonald's story, I thought this was kind of an interesting one. And I thought this was kind of an interesting story to talk about from a business perspective. So Bud Light recently came out, and Bud Light's big promotion right now, and I guess this is kind of part of March Madness, which makes it even weirder. But Bud Light is actually doing a promo where they took this TikTok star, who also is trans and is a trans activist, Dylan Mulvaney, something like that. I'm not really on TikTok, not really familiar with who this person is. I have seen their face around on the internet and things like that. So TikTok put this trans activist TikTok star on cans of Bud Light as part of a March Madness promo. Now, what one has to do with the other, I don't really get. Like, what does a trans activist have to do with March Madness? Another reason that this kind of strikes me as being very weird is the entire Budweiser brand, but Bud Light in particular. It seems to be a brand that's popular at sports stadiums. It seems to be a brand that's popular with sports fans. I know in my family, like, I try to think of who drinks Bud Light. And my brother-in-law is a huge fan of Bud Light. He's got Bud Light stuff all over his basement. Anytime we have a barbecue or we get together with them, he's always got Bud Light. And he is a very kind of very masculine, very blue-collar dude, right? His family owns a trucking and road construction company. He drives trucks. He loves football, rides motorcycles, works on cars, like very, very blue-collar, very masculine guy. And he is a diehard Bud Light fan. And I think this is kind of the typical person who drinks Bud Light. Also, since 2016, Bud Light has been trying to make a big push to get Hispanics to drink Bud Light. That's been kind of a big push going back as far as 2016. And so we talk about know your customer, know your brand, stay in your lane. If this were a brand like Stella Artois or something like that, okay, maybe put a trans TikTok star on your cans or on your bottles. But like Bud Light, it just strikes me that, probably 80 to 90% of Bud Light drinkers and Bud Light fans are going to be a little bit put off by this, right? Companies like when brands kind of cater to them and people like them and kind of make them feel important. That's why Bud Light typically advertises at sports venues. Bud Light is, very into like NASCAR and things like that. And so TikTok and trans stars, it just doesn't really seem to translate to the average Bud Light buyer or Bud Light consumer. So it just seems really weird. It seems like a really great way to kind of alienate your audience. And even the New York Post put out an article, Bud Light's, what was the article? Let's see here if I can find it. New York Post, okay. New York Post, Bud Light partners with trans activist Dylan Mulvaney for March Madness. This isn't a parody. So even the New York Post had to say this isn't a parody. They even realize what kind of an odd partnership that is. But moving beyond that story. So McDonald's is shutting down their corporate office here in Chicago for at least Monday through Thursday, if not the entire week. They've asked people to cancel all in-person meetings, cancel all travel. Let's see, employees were told to stay home Monday through Wednesday and wait to hear if they're laid off. These layoffs will take place either over Zoom or over email. It seems that the train is leaving the station as far as layoffs, right? Like every company has been doing layoffs, and if you want to trim your work staff, if you want to get rid of employees without really making waves or getting too much negative attention from the media, from the public, it's a great time to do it when everybody else is laying off employees as well, right? Amazon's laid off 27,000, Salesforce laid off 10,000 with more layoffs on the way. Apple's got a hiring freeze. They haven't laid people off yet, but we're hearing left and right about 10,000 layoffs, 20,000 layoffs, 27,000 layoffs with this company. I know UBS recently took over Credit Suisse. They're planning on laying off 36,000. That's just kind of, when you merge two companies together, there's a lot of repetitive positions and things like that. So they're laying off 36,000. So if McDonald's wants to lay off some employees, if McDonald's wants to cut some fat, right now is a great time to do it without getting too much attention. McDonald's tends to be a company that tends to get a lot of backlash for everything. Like when people start talking about how unhealthy fast food is and how we should eat less fast food and how these fast food companies are predatory in terms of serving unhealthy food and marketing it towards kids and things like that, McDonald's always seems to be the scapegoat, right? Like even though Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, all these restaurants serve unhealthy food, as soon as that topic becomes kind of in vogue or popular in the media, popular to run stories for, all of a sudden you have everybody protesting outside of McDonald's headquarters. As soon as minimum wage at fast food restaurants and the service industry, as soon as that becomes a big topic, again, McDonald's is a company everybody runs to. Obviously they're the big guy. The big guy's always got a target on its back. So McDonald's would normally get a lot of pushback over layoffs, but I think they're hoping to kind of blend in with all the other companies doing layoffs. Now, what's interesting about this, McDonald's blames poor or changing economic headwinds as the reason. But McDonald's profits are actually up 16% year over year, and I forget the actual number, but I was just looking into this earlier this morning. McDonald's is planning on adding like 1,900 or 2,300 stores worldwide over the course of the next year. So you would think if you're going to be adding thousands of stores, you would need people looking at new locations. You would need people to kind of source things to build these restaurants. You would think you would need people in corporate for growing your restaurant chain. McDonald's is actually looking to get rid of people. And this isn't going to be a small round of layoffs. The fact that they're telling people to stay home and prepare to get a Zoom call or an email about a layoff, this is going to be a huge round of layoffs. I believe McDonald's currently has over 170,000 corporate employees, about 70% of those being in the U.S. But it's really a bad look when you're sending people home to get laid off over Zoom or email. Let's talk about the OPEC story. OPEC is cutting oil production 1.15 million barrels per day. Biden and the U.S. have been urging them to increase production, and they're actually cutting production, so this is kind of a slap in the face to the U.S. This is going to raise prices. It's going to raise gas prices. It's going to raise diesel prices. This also comes at the same time that China continues to open back up and is going to need more oil. China, India, and the BRICS nations are growing. They're going to be consuming a lot more oil. And also the U.S. still has not restocked its strategic oil reserves. We were planning on doing that in Q4, and it's going to be more expensive than ever to do that. And think about this, not only is your gas going to get more expensive, but every single item you buy has to be transported, whether it's transported by rail, by sea, by truck. All of this requires gas or diesel, and this is going to make the cost of everything you buy go up. This is inflationary, and I imagine the next round of inflation numbers is going to wind up coming in higher. Let's talk a little bit about the real estate market. I just kind of look around my area. I normally have my filters set up for, I look around my area, and I'm also kind of shopping around Florida. And just out of kind of curiosity, I'll shop other areas of the country as well. But I normally have my filters set to up to 450,000, single-family home or multi-family home. And in my city and surrounding cities, there's normally at any given time maybe 2 to 6 listings, which is very, very low. I'll normally check on Fridays because Friday you tend to get new listings because people can go look at them over the weekend. On Fridays, I might see like 1 to 3 new listings come on the market. But normally, most or all of those new listings coming on the market aren't actually new. I recognize the homes as having been on the market before. So what people are doing, they're putting their home up for sale. It's sitting for a couple months. They're not getting much action, so they pull the home off the market and then they relist it. I guess the idea being that you pop back up to the top of the searches for people who are sorting by properties new to old. So most of the properties I'm seeing coming on the market are the same properties that I saw 6 months ago or 3 months ago or a month ago go off the market and then just come right back onto the market. Let's talk about this Realtor.com article. A surprising sign that home prices may finally take a plunge this summer. So we have a real estate publication admitting that the housing market is softening. They said that everything that the government and business. Let's see. Okay, so they kind of talked about how most sellers chase prices down. We all know this, but if a home legitimately should be selling for $375, most home buyers are going to be asking $400. They're going to get lowball offers. They're going to turn them down, or nobody's going to look at the house. By the time that seller realizes that they should be offering $375 and wind up dropping their price from $400 to $375, they've waited so long that at this point the new price is $350. So they're going to sit at $375 for a while. They're going to get lowballed, or they're going to get no offers, and then 6 weeks down the road they're going to realize I should be at $350, and by the time they go to $350, prices are going to be at $335. The smart home buyers are going to eventually realize that if they do need to sell, they just need to cut their losses and sell the home for what it needs to sell for, and they're going to price it appropriately. I think after 2 to 3 rounds of cuts, most people finally learn this. In March, the number of new listings fell by 20.1%. And sellers who want to sell, so the article talked about how sellers who want to sell can do one of a couple things. They can cut prices and try to get more buyers, and we did see 12.6% of homes listed cut prices in March. We also saw, again, the number of new listings fall by 20%. They say sellers who can remain patient will just decide not to sell. And we're seeing sellers start to back out of deals as well on Twitter, on Reddit, on real estate forums. I'm seeing a lot of sellers actually trying to back out of deals, and buyers wondering if they can sue the sellers to force them to go through with the deal. I think what's happening, most of the times when people, if you sell a home for a reason besides like divorce, or having to move to a new market for a new job, you're typically wanting to upgrade. Now, with home prices being high as well as interest rates where they're at, to get a comparable home, you're going to be paying $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 more per month. You're not going to be able to upgrade for the same amount of money or even a little bit more money. It's going to cost you a lot more. So most people are deciding not to upgrade. Also, I think a lot of people are realizing that if they sell their home, they're going to be entering this very tough buyer's market, or at the very least this market with no inventory, and they're going to have a hard time buying a new home. So we're starting to see a lot of sellers back out of deals. And again, we talked about this, but we are in the midst of peak home buying season. Typically in the wintertime, home prices go down about 5 to 7% in most markets. So if you look at seasonality, we're really only down about 5%. We're not down at the 10 or 14% that the media likes to talk about. But if we head into this spring and summer season and the market doesn't get propped back up, I think the market is going to fall really, really hard. There's also some interesting stats going on with the number of apartments being built. Right now, we have 1.1 million apartment units currently in production or permitting, and that's double the number that we saw back in 2007. Real estate investors are already dealing with vacancies. Phoenix vacancy rate is up to 7.2%. That's the highest that it's been in the past 6 years. And the Las Vegas vacancy rate has more than tripled from 2.5% to 8.3% in less than 2 years. Why are vacancy rates going up? Many metro areas have already surpassed pre-pandemic eviction levels. Combine evictions with lots of building and added inventory plus a recession, and you have problems brewing. There's declining rents will eventually spiral into declining home prices. And in theory, lower home buying demand should mean more rent demand, but that's just not happening. Both are declining, and this suggests a broader housing recession. In Seattle, it costs 110% more to buy a home than rent a home, and a comparable home that you would buy would cost $4,600 a month. You could rent that home for $2,200 a month. So a lot of people are just tapping out of the housing market and deciding unless interest rates come down or unless home prices come down, I'm just going to be content renting. And some other markets that are like Seattle in terms of it's substantially more expensive to buy than rent. These markets include San Jose, San Francisco, Austin, Salt Lake City, Los Angeles, Portland, Provo, and Denver, among others. And then last story of the day, I talked maybe a couple weeks ago about how YouTuber Lord Miles had gone missing in Afghanistan. Apparently he's being held by and investigated by the Taliban. I'll try to read a little bit more about that today and maybe bring you some news about that tomorrow. And then I saw this news on, I think, Friday. I didn't get a chance to dig into the story too much, but I saw Andrew Tate has been released and is currently on house arrest in Romania. So, in Romania, they can hold you for 6 months without charges. He's been held since, I want to say, late December. So what's that, like January, February, March. He's been held for probably 3-4 months at this point. They released him. It's not clear whether they're just going to be giving up and dropping charges or if they're going to be continuing to investigate him. But it'll be interesting to see how that story pans out as well. Anyhow, guys, that is all the news of today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, give it a thumbs up. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts, comments, and opinions on anything and everything we've discussed in today's video. So go ahead and drop those down below as well. And if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel and you want to get these daily update videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell as well. That's all I got, guys. I will catch you on tomorrow's video. Talk to you later. Peace. I'm out.